question. If I can only just ask you this question, can I? Tell me in the comments if I can. Do you remember what it was like listening to De La Soul? Not even just the first time, but just if it was part of your daily life, listening to De La Soul back in the 80s, in the 90s, maybe not. So I want to try to describe to you what it was like for me, and I think for many other people, this amazing combination of intelligence, humor, creativity, and sort of indie sensibility. No matter how much they blew up, they never went pop. Their career was not carbonated, so it could not fizzle out. They had that kind of underground cool and indiness, of Tribe Called Quest, but what they mixed it with was a lot more of the humor, like of Biz Markie. And on top of all that, you had the inventive production abilities of Public Enemy. You mix all those things together, and that's what it was like listening to De La Soul back in the day. But not only that, you didn't know what they were going to give you. Every single album was different. The first album was one thing, and everyone loved it. And the next album was like, yeah, we're dead. We're actually not doing that. They were just filled with just quotables and songs that made you think, and stories, and songs that made you laugh, and skits. The thing I think of is one time I had an ex-girlfriend, and the best compliment she ever gave me was she said, Sky, you have a certain joie de vivre, which just means a joy of life. And I think it's true. That's how I feel. I have a joy for life. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for everything, but I have a real joy, a real love of life. And not all music is made for the love of life, for the joie de vivre. But De La Soul, perhaps definitely more than any other rap artists, maybe almost alone, have that level of joie de vivre. Just this absolute joy, the curiosity, the excellence. So the question I was asking you is, do you remember what it was like to listen to them? Do you remember what it was like to listen to them? Well, it doesn't matter if you remember, because you can do it right now. You can listen to Cabin in the Sky by De La Soul, and you will hear an album just as good as anything they released in the 80s or 90s. I said it. This is an album so good, it fucked my whole week up. I had a whole release plan. I was going to move on to this and then do that and then do this and catch up with that and all this. And let me tell you what I was expecting. I was expecting this to be like the Mobb Deep project, like the Raekwon project, like the Ghostface project. All of these great things that are being put together in the Legend Has It series on Mass Appeal by Nas. All praise is due to Nasir Jones. Absolutely, what he's doing is great. But I was anticipating that. Something that was good. Something that reminded you of what made them great. Maybe just something a little off. Instead, we get this. My Culture United colleague, Rob Markman, did a video about this album, and he described it as a bear hug. When you haven't seen someone for a long time and you slap them 5 and then you do a big bear hug, he described this album as that. And I don't know how long my video is going to be. It's not going to be as good as that. So anyways, go check out Rob Markman if you're not already. The thing about this, and caveat, I haven't actually checked out the Big L project yet, so that's one that I'm missing, but I've listened to and reviewed every other one of these projects, Slick Rick, Raekwon, Ghostface, Mobb Deep. It's all great. It's all really good, but there's just something off with them. Okay, now maybe it's the mixing. I don't know. There is something weird going on with the mastering on those. And I'm not the kind of guy who talks about mastering and mixing, but there's something a bit weird. But there's something a little bit not quite there. You don't listen to the new Mobb Deep and say, oh, this is just as good as any old Mobb Deep. Not even close. Same thing, Supreme Clientele 2 is great. And at points, it scratches at the bottom of the foot of Supreme Clientele 1, but it's not there. Whereas this album, Cabin in the Sky, is a perfect addition to the oeuvre. But before I go any further, I have to admit something. I'm a bad fan. I'm a bad fan. Bad. Okay, I am. I'm a bad De La fan. I'm going to tell you a little story of my fandom with them and tell you why I'm a bad fan. And why actually this album is basically me seeing the light. Right behind me is this window, and there's all these clouds in the sky, and the sun is peeking through. And I'm starting to get that feeling, everybody. You see, when I was in high school, there were basically 3 rap groups that I loved over everything. Now listen, Of course, I was into EPMD and I had all my old NWA and Eazy-E stuff, and King T is still my favorite album of the 80s. Act a Fool, that's still my favorite album of the 80s. And, I was listening to Run DMC still. It wasn't like I only listened to these three, but there were three groups that absolutely dominated what I listened to. Not Tribe Called Quest. I actually was never really a Tribe guy. I liked them, but I don't know. But those groups were Public Enemy, Biz Markie, and De La Soul. That was it. That was what I listened to just all the time. When I wasn't listening to rock and roll music, that's what I was listening to. The album De La Soul is dead. Now listen, I should be able to hold up all of my De La Soul CDs, but this is the truth. Balloon Mind State I only had on cassette. I bought De La Soul's Dead on CD, and it was stolen. I bought 3 Feet High and Rising, and it was lost. I bought the two AOI albums, and I didn't like them, so I put them in my annex. That's the no-go zone. That's in my attic. That's the CDs I don't listen to. We'll talk about that in a second. So the only De La Soul CD I have in my possession is Stakes is High. Not a bad one. But like De La Soul is Dead was an essential album of my youth. Partly because the skits are so good throughout all of their stuff that they become quotable. It becomes like listening to a comedy album and a rap album at the same time. This is an art which is beyond lost. This is the most archaic lost art you could possibly imagine. It's like scrimshaw on whale bones. Like, just, people don't do it anymore. 1 second. Did you have to smash the like bucket, because I just compared the skits on De La Soul albums to Scrimshaw, so I need more credit. Put hype notes on this, the hype points. Give me all your hype points for referencing Scrimshaw. That's off the dome, everybody. Anyways, De La Soul is Dead with oodles of O's and peas porridge in the pot. And oh my God, the way they mix together these funny samples, and where do they find them, and the way they get the drums to always work. Always. De La Soul's drums are always on point. They always bring them in. They always have some kind of sample and you go, that's kind of cool. It'd be cool if there was a drum. And then, man, God damn it, they get you with the drums every single time. Listen to the drums on peas porridge in the pot. Listen to the samples on Biddies in the BK Lounge, which is one of my favorite songs growing up. Played it again for my teenage kids. Oh, whoa, times have changed, kids. A little bit misogynist. Millie pulled a pistol on Santa. I used to listen to that story song all the time. So like that was like my album. That was easily top 3 most listened to albums of my adolescence. 3 Feet High and Rising I liked, but less. My brother had that on vinyl. It was good, but I mean, still. Potholes on My Lawn. They don't know. Oh my God. And then we get to Balloon Mind State, and that's where things get interesting for me, okay? A lot of people with De La Soul kind of fell off with De La Soul's Dead because they just wanted the 3 Feet High and Rising over and over again. That wasn't me. I really started with De La Soul's Dead. But Balloon Mind State, I still remember buying the cassette. I think I bought it at the Watertown Mall. I believe it was a Sam Goody or maybe a Strawberries at that time. I'm not sure which one it was. I believe that's where I bought it. Unless I got it at Newbury Comics. I don't remember. I hated Balloon Mind State at first. I really did. I was like, they just don't have it anymore. And then I kept listening, and then I realized not only did they have it, but Balloon Mind State is a superior album to De La Soul's Dead and 3 Feet High and Rising. You're mad, De La fans, but I'm just telling you the truth. Patty Dookie, ego tripping? Wah, 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 wah. But this was also the origin of the difficulty I was going to have with De La Soul. I went to Lollapalooza 93, 94. It was in like this weird Air Force base. It was very hot. I saw Tool, for all the Tool fans. But the group Arrested Development played. And I was an Arrested Development fan. Their CD is currently in my no-go annex with all the CDs I never want to listen to again. A lot of Mighty Mighty Boss Tones in the no-go annex. But they got up and they gave this speech to 30,000 white kids. There's 2 kinds of black people. There's African Americans and you can imagine the N-word that they said afterwards. And everybody clapped. And I had this visceral reaction to this, that even though I was a white kid from the suburbs, I was like, I don't like this at all. this delineation that's being driven, I don't like this at all. So from that point on, and even before, when I would sniff out rap artists sort of putting down other rap artists as being like less than because of their thematics, it rubbed me the wrong way. Because even though I couldn't put words to it, I understood that depictions of and descriptions of criminality themselves are a symptom of the sickness of America, not just the sickness of any part of America. It's the criminal justice system, the war on drugs, the whole thing, right? So it's like looking down on other artists made me feel uncomfortable. That kind of holier than thou indie rap stuff actually turned me off from a lot of indie rap. IMC, you do DONT. I don't even know who does that song. I heard it once and I got pissed. Actually, Brad told me about it and I got pissed. He said it was a good song. You tell me in the comments who that was. So, ego tripping ain't no half steps. I mean, I can do the whole song, right? It's a great song, but it's in that level of preachiness. So then as things move along, I get a chance to see De La Soul perform at my college, Wheaton College, Wheaton, Massachusetts, not the Christian one in Illinois, a very small school. Very weird. Run DMC played there in 2000, and I went, and it was during the day, and it was on the quad, and there was no tickets, and nobody was watching. Imagine Run DMC in a tiny stage performing to nobody. Like people just walking by on their way to classes. You don't know how good you have it. Of course, I stayed. I watched it. I think I watched it till the end, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. I was with my girlfriend at the time. Maybe I had better plans. I don't know. Of course, looking back at it now, I could have hung around and met Run DMC, but I didn't think that way. Anyways, De La Soul came and played in 1997 at my college with Wyclef Jean. And I was a super big fan, and I was so excited. But the whole show, and this is my memory, they were just preaching. They were just like, this is what real hip-hop is, and this is not what real hip-hop is. And they did the whole, Ricky, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your rhymes just hypnotize me. And they, lectured the audience for associating that little rhyme with Notorious B.I.G. and not with Slick Rick. Which, I get it. I'm a hip-hop guy. I'm totally in favor of that. But also, shut up, man. They don't know what they don't know. The nature of rap is borrowing and building and all that. As far as I was concerned, ain't no half steppin'. It wasn't a Big Daddy Kane thing. I thought that was a De La Soul thing for a long time, That's not your fault. So I don't know. It really knocked out a lot of the air of my enjoyment of their music. Now again, the weird thing about pre-internet, pre-stan culture is I was a huge De La Soul fan. Huge. But I didn't know the difference between the rappers. I didn't know when Paz de News was rapping or when Dave was rapping, or I didn't even know that Maceo basically never rapped. I had no idea. But don't feel like this is just some weird rap thing. I listened to the Beatles more than I listened to De La Soul, and I couldn't have told you which song was Paul and which song was John. Now, of course, I've trained my ear to hear the differences, but that's just kind of the way that things were back then. I just think that's kind of funny. It's a little thing worth mentioning, especially as we get to this album where it's okay, so Plug 2 is dead, right? Dave Jolicoeur, Trugoy, he's passed, but it wasn't that different for me because I didn't really recognize his voice as being that different. Which is just now I listen to him back, and anyways. So, that leads up to Mosaic Thump. I remember the day it came out. I am not going to lie. Ooh, 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 ooh is one of my favorite songs. Just ever. Okay? Listen. I hope to die at the age of 107. And I hope that they play this song at my funeral. Ooh, 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 ooh. Absolutely great. But that whole album, AOI Mosaic Thump, I bought it the day it came out. I thought it was okay. And then the second part, Bionics, came out, and I bought it, and I think I listened to it once, and it went away. And it's currently in the no-go attic. It's in my attic. I cannot access it. And then since then, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Justin Hunt told me that was his favorite De La Soul album, although I've watched his most recent take on this new album, and he says that a different album, the Grind Date, is actually his favorite one, so I don't know. And I was pretty sure, who else? Someone else on the Culture United panel said that Bionics was their favorite album. So I went back and re-listened to it. It's awesome. And so is AOI. It's all great. What happened was I got old. This channel is largely about overcoming your age by learning to stay nimble. And De La Soul, like Daft Punk and Kanye West and Radiohead, are the kind of artists who don't just give you what you want, they give you what you need that you didn't think you wanted. And they were doing that, and I fell off. They didn't fall off, I fell off. As a fan, I fell off. So they kind of drifted from my life. And then streaming happened, and they weren't there streaming at all. And then they were coming back on streaming. When 3, The Magic Number, came on at that Spider-Man movie, I was so happy. I was like, the world will remember, but more importantly, I will remember. And so the stuff came out on streaming, and I wanted to make a video, but I just felt like a poser because I dropped off. I dropped off at Bionics. Maybe the reason they didn't make the 3rd installment of the AOI series is because of me, personally. So when this came out, I had a low, low, low expectation. When this came out, I was still like, yeah, I'm sure that their other stuff is fine, but it's going to be another mass appeal. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to have some bad mixing. And yet somehow this album comes out and it fucked up my whole week. Because I cannot stop listening to it. I can't believe how good it is. My Thanksgiving greeting to my brother was this: Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. The new De La is so good. And his response was, Happy Thanksgiving, I'll buy it. And he will. Yeah, I got 2 brothers who buy music on iTunes. How old am I? I have 2 brothers who buy music on iTunes. It's uncanny. It's unreal. I have 1 sports analogy and 1 movie analogy. Sports analogy, I support l'Olympique de Marseille, the greatest team in Europe. And they have a player named Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's from Gabon. And he's this amazing player, full of life, full of joy. But he's old. He's 34 years old. And he left Marseille. He used to play for Arsenal. He's one of the best strikers in the world. Then he left, kind of moved around. Then he ended up in France, which is where people go when their career's kind of ending. And he had a great year with Marseille. And then he went to Saudi Arabia just for the money. And then he came back. And everyone's like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What he's going to do is he's going to beat Newcastle single-handedly. 2 goals, including one at the craziest angle you've ever possibly seen. It's that kind of thing. Like, how can he be this good? How can he still do the flips? How is he still this good? He's still this good because when a player displays a skill, it means they have it forever. The movie analogy I'd like to make is George Miller, director of Mad Max. Because he made Mad Max and Road Warrior, and then he made Babe, and the better Babe Pig in the City. And although Babe Pig in the City will always be his best movie, because it's one of the best movies ever made, he also made Mad Max Fury Road. And it's like, how is this possible? How is this old man capable of doing this movie that's just as good as the other one? You watch Mad Max or Road Warrior, and you compare it to Mad Max Fury Road, it's just as good. It's that kind of return. It's not good, but there is an element to this album which I think I will be unable to fully process, which is I am very much white as an apple mouse, okay? I'm not black. I do not experience the world as a black person. I'm a tourist to this culture. And I feel like death for the black community of figures like Dave, venerated, loved, kind figures, hits in a certain way that I imagine there's a level of mourning that I can't properly access. Speaking of movies, this made me feel about Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther movie. And like so much of that movie was trying to pay tribute to the actor who had passed, but it was just like, there's so much of it, but it felt to me like it went beyond standard mourning, and it felt to me like it was like this culture, the loss of Bozeman, the cultural like meaning of this figure and this character, that there was a part of that movie and a part of that mourning which was not for me. But these are just things I don't know. I'm like a theoretical physicist, okay? I'm talking about dimensions I could never possibly see, but these are things that I feel. Another thing I appreciate about this, quick preach for De La Soul. It's just the comedy. It's just still the comedy. And the thing about comedy and rap music is it's really missing. You know, like, I talk a lot about Biz Markie because he's my favorite rapper, right? But his ability to be funny and heartfelt and meaningful and having De La Soul at the same time, I feel like that's really lacking in music right now. Like, Tyler, the Creator, is very funny, but he's kind of troll funny, which is kind of like a mean-spiritedness. Or maybe like, you know, Danny Brown is funny, but it's a little bit of like, kind of like a darkness to it. Kind of like an old dirty bastard self-harm feel. I feel like Open Mike Eagle is the closest thing we have to Biz Markie or De La Soul, who's able to deliver underground rap music with like genuine comedy. But that's a part of hip hop that I feel like is missing. So sometimes Mike watches my videos, sometimes he doesn't. I don't blame him for not. His videos are long. But I'd like to talk to him about that. Like, how good did we have it where we had so much humor in our rap music while rap music was still being good? So, you know, this album, it's gratitude, it's mourning, it's all about the sun, it's all about the sunshine and light. It is old people talking about the joy of life. It is talking about heaven and the afterlife, the image of the cabin in the sky. Every song just weaves so well into the next. It's such a complete album. That's what I'm saying. It's really not just a collection of whatever. It's a De La Soul joint. They are putting things together, and it weaves so well. And I really appreciate how good the voices are. Maybe, you know, they're not doing a lot of drugs, they're not doing a lot of smoking, I don't know what, but their voices sound the same way they did when they were in their 20s. I will say that I do miss, you know, Prince Paul. I feel like that might have been part of why I kind of fell off the train, you know. Yeah, I also got the other album. Yeah, the other one. Everyone's got Prince Among Thieves. Not everyone has the Politics of Business. But maybe some of that comedy left with Prince Paul. I don't know. Speaking of Prince Paul and early De La Soul albums, Spotify just bought whosampled.com. And this breaks my heart. And we need to be talking about this. This is more important than a Drake tweet. This is more important than, I don't know, Cardi B saying something mean about Nicki Minaj. Sampling is a dying art. They have been trying to murder sampling since this. This right here is what's called the collector's edition of Biz Markie's I Need a Haircut. Why is it called the collector's edition? Because on the track listing, it is missing the song Alone Again by Gilbert. I spit on your grave, O'Sullivan. Okay? Because this is the original version. I lost the cover. This is the original version that has it, and one of the best segues of any songs in any rap history is the way that Alone Again goes into On and On. Put my mic on my head and began to rip. Oh my God. To start all off, it had to start snowing. Some of the best stuff, but that was the lawsuit that killed samples. And then De La Soul, the reason that they weren't on all the streaming services was because of all the samples, all this creativity that comes from sampling, and the digital age is destroying it. And I loved Who Sampled. I used to be a premium member. I used to pay them $30 a month to use their service because I appreciated what they did as artists, helping us to understand and connect. And now they've been co-opted and bought by Spotify and Daniel Ek. True story. Every day, Daniel Ek wakes up. Curtis King runs up from behind him and biffs him off the head. Every day that happens. Allegedly. Every day that happens. And it should. Spotify is now owning, which means they're going to be combing, and they're going to be taking away rights and taking away songs, and we are going to be losing rap history. And you, if you are smart, are going to be like me, who is just lucky that I bought all these goddamn CDs, and you can't take them from me. You can't take them from me, Spotify. You can't take them. I will get to listen to Gilbert O'Sullivan. I can hear that sample of Biz Markie. I can hear that song for the rest of my life. But Spotify is trying to take it away from you. Thank you to Fantano, who made a video about it as well. I was starting to feel crazy because Open Mike Eagle made a great video about it, but I'm like, where's everybody else? If Drake, got on a mic and said like, hey everybody, I love rap music, but I actually prefer country music. Like the whole world would be up in arms, and that would do nothing. That would hurt nothing. That would do nothing to nobody. That wouldn't tell us anything we didn't know. Now we know something. Sampling is about to be even more reduced. And what happens when sampling is reduced is you're then left with musicians who have to only make music that is they are able to make. And with the cutting of funding across the board, especially in impoverished school districts where most of the good rap music comes from, you get less music training, which means you're going to have people with natural talent and a desire and a great passion, but not a lot of skill. So they're going to have to make their own music, and how are they going to make it? I don't really know how they're going to make it. It's going to be hard. And sitting right there is fucking AI ready for them. Just as well, you don't actually have to learn how to play piano or learn how to sample or learn how to do all these things. This is all you have to do. And that's what Spotify wants, so that AI can play music for AI and they can just collect all the checks. And meanwhile, we don't get De La Soul. We don't get Prince Paul. We don't get Biz Markie. We don't even get Drake. Sorry. Great album cover. I really like the album cover.「Thank you for auditing the Always Positive Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor. Smash the like button. Give me all those hype points for the scrimshaw thing earlier. I don't really know what the hype points are, but give me them now. I do, on my second channel, I've done over 30 classes of my history of Haiti. And I'm working on something. It's not going to be done this semester. It's going to be done over a period of time about rappers in the Haitian diaspora. And we would not have De La Soul without the Haitian diaspora, because Trugoy, David Jolicoeur, David Pretty Heart himself is, of course, of Haitian immigrants. So please remember that. Please remember that the TPS, Temporary Protected Status, is ending on February 5th, 2026. And all of the Haitians who are here because they had to flee a terrible situation, which was not entirely, but certainly largely the fault of our own government, they should be protected and allowed to stay. Please work on that if you can, if you have the capacity, if you have space in your brain to worry about stuff. That's really important. All right, let's get to the album, huh? How far am I into this thing? Let me just check on the time. 27 minutes. I haven't talked about a note of music. Yeah, sometimes I get these comments that are like, not bad review, but I could do without your personal stories. Man, Fantano did a great review of this album. He doesn't talk about himself for like 20 minutes. Go watch that. Go watch it. Seriously, it's great. That's awesome, man. It's a really good review of somebody who likes De La Soul just as much as me. It's just, I do a different thing than he does. He doesn't bring you Scrimshaw. I'm just going to say that. Okay? He doesn't give you Scrimshaw. I give you Scrimshaw. He gives you reviews under 10 minutes that are great. It starts off with Cabin Talk. Just a reminder, Giancarlo Esposito. Giancarlo Esposito is one of these great guys who you see him in movies and you're like, oh my God, he was in that? Because he's so iconic in Breaking Bad that when you rewatch Do the Right Thing, like, oh my God, he was in that? And you see, Usual Suspects, oh my God, he's in that? Like, he's in so many things. He's so great, such a great voice. And what a wonderful skit, because it's funny because the way everyone says that they're here, that's all funny. And of course, it's heartfelt because it ends with David not being there, with Jolicoeur not being there. And they even make reference to the AI bot that they had on those two albums, like, oh, it's kind of like Siri, like, what's that? Because of course, De La Soul was ahead of the game. And then we get to the song You Don't Stop. Sky. I'm talking to you. This guy who in 2000 was listening to artificial intelligence, Mosaic Thump, and said, I don't think this is it. Hold on. Okay? Just keep listening to De La Soul. Stay limber. Stay with them, because they are going to reward you in 2025. Okay? With a song like You Don't Stop. This crazy horn sample and some harp. This is some of the best string usage I have ever heard in rap music. I'm saying it just right up front. It is so effective and well made and well recorded. And the thing with Dave's stuff is, one thing that I like about Pause de Nous, that I like less about Dave, which is probably why it's nice that Dave isn't all over this album, but of course I would like him to not be all over this album out of artistic choice as opposed to the eternal embrace of his Jesus Christ, is that Dave does a little more of the kind of like backwards looking stuff. Like in thinking about like, my favorite albums by my favorite artists. Where is it? Where is it? I just had it right here. Yeah, like Weekend Warrior was Biz Marquis' final album, and like it's good, but he makes too many references to old stuff he used to say, and this is like in the '90s, right? So Dave is a little bit more backwards looking, which is fine. But anyways, kind of old school, Sure Shot, Don't Stop, but just amazing rapping. And then it's this outro. Which uses the strings so well, where he says that it's magic, and then the strings play an interpretation of it's the magic number, and it's just beautiful. And then they say, feel the vibe, right? Vibrations. And the strings start playing the song Stakes is High off of the album Stakes is High. I've told this story before on the channel, but I'm going to tell it again. I didn't love this album when I first heard it, up until I heard Stakes is High for the third or fourth time, and I realized it's one of the most fascinatingly constructed songs I've ever heard. It blew my ever-loving mind. I could not believe how good it is. I put it up there with, Made You Look by Salam Remy, Welcome to the Terror Dome by Public Enemy. It's just like the best produced rap songs of all time. Like, when I think about just songs, individual songs, I don't think Stakes is High by De La Soul can be topped. Things can be equaled, but they cannot be topped. Fast forward 20 years later, and I'm reading about Jay Dilla, and I'm like, oh shit, he did that song. So I completely organically came to the realization that Jay Dilla is one of the greatest producers of all time without even knowing it was him the whole time. But just the way they integrate it, it gives you chills and makes you just feel this sense of mourning and thankfulness, gratitude and mourning. It's the way a funeral is supposed to make you feel, gratitude and mourning. I'm so thankful for what they gave me. I'm so sad for what they've left me. True to that magic hasn't always been easy. Even Dave said, only the real true soldiers don't get that shine like they should. I'm staying true to myself. Keep the energy of the vibe so you can keep giving off the right vibrations. And then it leads on to this idea where Pause the News comes out and talks about sunny storms, which leads into the next song. Seeing the blessings giving you a way to take a crisis in midlife and turn it to a chrysalis, because it's midlife rap. As we get older, we talk healthier, loud attitude, crave to be stealthier. We cooked up an oath, putting emphasis on growth. With a friendship that wouldn't budge every now and then, out of place, we get nudged. He's talking about age. He's talking about the need to grow. Like, I am coming out of a chrysalis, right? I had a midlife crisis. That's why I started this damn YouTube channel. Because I'm like, I'm too old. I think all new music is bad. I need to see what's going on. I got so old, I didn't even like De La Soul anymore. What the hell is wrong with me? And DJ Premier, everybody, DJ Premier, not like he needs more flowers. Dude gets a lot of flowers. But DJ Premier, he feels so free on this. I don't even know how to describe it. He just feels loose. There's just something just so charming about this beat. And then it gets cut up. And the thing about what DJ Premier does is, in the movie Transformers, they decided to take the Volkswagen Bug and turn him into a Camaro because they had a deal with GM. But they had Bumblebee. Instead of Bumblebee talking, Bumblebee talks through like little samples from the radio. It's kind of a neat trick. And that's basically how Premier is. Like, he just masters that style of having people talk. So I believe it's Rakim. That verse was the calm, now here's the storm, which leads into this crazy beat change. I'm telling you, everybody, just 2 songs in, and this is one of the rap albums of the year. It's just 2 songs in, just, god damn, it's so good. Unbelievable beat change. This gentle bass and these whiny sounds and Slick Rick. Hey, Slick Rick, this isn't Biggie, it's Slick Rick. Boom, 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 boom. Well, that's true. God, lessons. No need to grieve for the death of the old you that ushers in change. Give birth to better versions for you to claim. The best weight loss is losing the opinions of others with a cross to nail you for sinning. Meaningful, wonderful advice. Because the thing about De La Soul is they were always super smart, funny, cool guys. That was their vibe. That's what they do. And the cool thing about cool, smart guys is they just stay cool and smart when they get older. They don't burn out and get all crusty and weird. They just turn into older, cool guys who are still smart and funny. And the way they flip that sample, well, that's true, and then says, goy, the Dove, just amazing. And then the song Good Health leads directly this hard drum beat and bass and drums. And it's almost kind of Dilla-ish, this kind of hi-hat behind. And we got Trugoy to start. Who gave color to hip-hop, neon crops to risen to the top of livers, right? So that's how they brought a lot of color to rap music with their first album. Kind of these cool Goldilocks interludes, and this is all produced by David West, but he does the Super Dave West. I'm sorry. This is not regular Dave West. This is Super Dave West, who did a lot of stuff on the last couple albums. Yeah, I need to check out the rest of their catalog. I'm a little bit embarrassed now. But the thing, this is a message for men out there. When you don't know something, just say you don't know. Doesn't matter. You don't have to explain why. You don't have to be like, actually, I don't know. It's okay. It's much better. It's much better. A lot of wars and death have happened because of men not wanting to just say, yeah, I don't know. De La Soul, since Mosaic Thump, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been listening. So, you've got this great mixture of Ghostface, everybody break bread, huddle around. Oh, it's just great. And then we get to Will Be. The thing about De La Soul is they're funny. They're smart. They're intellectual. They're indie. They're anti-mainstream. They might blow up, but they don't go pop. But at the same time, nobody, okay? Nobody. We're talking nobody is able to make party jams like De La Soul. I mean, their biggest hit when they came out was Me, Myself, and I. I was too much of a cool guy to say I liked Me, Myself, and I, but that song rules. Hell, even their weird thing with Teenage Fan Club on the Judgment Night soundtrack, Free Falling, the song about... The thing is, this song reminded me of Skate off of the JID album. And then I'm thinking, well, Roller Skating Jam called Saturday is another De La Soul song that's all about, roller skating. That's just what they're doing, man. They make songs for people to party. The complexity that De La Soul allowed themselves to have and that we allowed them to have, that they could have preachy songs about society, that they could have goofy joke songs, that they could be, tacitly or explicitly about Black power and the Black community while also just making fun party jams. They could do anything they wanted. And this is a reminder of that, this mixture of the Natalie Cole song, This Will Be an Everlasting Love, but instead it's just This Will Be the song that makes you feel free. And it is. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds of absolute joy. Joie de vie. Just life. It's just so good. And the truth in the song be the pro-Black teaching. I think that's a Wu-Tang flip right there. Yummy Bingham's awesome. This big voice and fun. This has the most Maceo anywhere on the album and stops too early. But it stops too early on purpose because it slows down. It says, why is it slowing down? Because it has to slow down because it then has to go to the package. And that's where you realize this whole album has just been completely connected the whole way through. Pete Rock, right? Pete Rock. Okay? The world is yours. They reminisce over you. Super famous Pete Rock. But Jesus Christ, this beat. These crazy, awesome cascading. This production on this album is too good. It's too good. Uplifting and awesome. It does that thing that De La Soul is able to do, being super badass with the drums and everything else is just super uplifting and interesting. And this little piano sample builds tension. I like the verses. This one little piano just builds tension. Don't forget the gang's here for you. They want to take it back when a B-boy first became a C-note chaser. Nah, staying right there. Talk less, listen more. That's what we say right here. Those who want to try us, play it right here. Step to us with Goliath. Got a David right here, which leads right into David's verse, the Trugoy verse, the Dove, plug 2. Some of you De La fans are still just pissed at me for saying I didn't know the difference between them. Listen, it's just the way I am, I do know the difference between EPMD. I do know the difference between Run DMC. I didn't, you know what it was? Is they were a collective anyways. So who cares? I mean, they erased their own identity by calling themselves Plugs 1, 2, and 3. Where was I? Yes. So going back to a little bit of that preachiness, when B-boys became a C-note chaser, but it's true. People talk about the death of hip-hop and the birth of rap. Really what that is that there are elements of hip-hop culture which are not remunerative, which cannot make money. And those elements always lose out in a hyper-capitalistic hellscape that we live in to the elements that make money. So rap music, through its ubiquity, killed hip-hop culture, which was filled with things which were less profitable. DJing, graffiti, b-boying, okay? Those things were just less profitable. So instead, hip-hop has kind of merged, and now like fashion has taken over for like graffiti. And why is that? Because you can sell it. You can sell it. If you can sell it, it works in America. It goes. So all the b-boys became C-note chasers. And there's a loss, but there's also a gain, where you have people getting to make money, get to make a living off of rap music. And Trugoy's verse, LI's finest, craftmatic, this ain't the sit down pillow top package. Kept the tenor boy, we beyond summertime. Want that good work called plug wonder time. Stay on the TikTok, but this ain't the kitty app. Black King shit, God, where your city at? Once again, we administer the Mars transmission. And Transmissions from Mars is the song off of 3 Feet High and Rising, which has the sample flip. This has got to be Prince Paul, man. This has got to be Prince Paul. It's Handsome Boy Mourning School all over it. It's got to be where it does a little French lesson from a French record. Quelle heure est-il? Il est midi. Il est midi. C'est l'heure de déjeuner. And I use that in my classes all the time. And every time I do it, my students are like, Professor Sky, where can I hear that music? Because it's just so dope. So that's the Mars transmission. And then listen, on Genius, y'all are too young on Genius. You put the lyric as, get your cars ate up like Blondie. No. Cars eat up, because in the song Rapture, which is the second or third rap song to make any kind of national appearance, and yes, it is basically a rap song, even though it's by a white group. I do a whole video, you can find it, I'll include a link to it if I remember, all about like Blondie and the kind of early days of New York City and rap music, sort of before rap became really national. One of the ways rap became national was with Debbie Harry's very painful verse in the song Rapture. And in the video, there's a DJ played by Jean-Michel Basquiat, who doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a DJ, he's an artist. Anyways, and in the lyric to that song, it's just absurdity. You go to bars, and then you see a man from Mars, and the man from Mars is eating cars. That's her lyrics. So he's tying it together with hip-hop history to Mars and Blondie, but he's also tying it together to his history with Transmissions from Mars, because he's trying to teach you about rap history. Because they're preachy, but they're good. Why did I say preachy? Like Kermit the Frog. These great hoo-hoos in the back. Quick 16 for Mama featuring Killer Mike, produced by Knots. Dude pronounced Barry Bonds, produced Barry Bonds. Top 5 Kanye song. I had that song stuck in my head all the time. Kind of gospel-y, develops really nicely. Again, there's things that I can't understand, right? The relationship between black men and their mothers is something which I understand what it is to have a mother, but there is a cultural indicator, there's a cultural thing happening here, which I can observe, but I can't feel. So I respectfully observe it, but don't feel it. It's still a great song, though. I lost my mom in 2016. I think about it all the time. But I wouldn't make something like this. Now listen, according to Rob Markman, who I trust, again, he does better videos than I do. And he gets to make comic books with Nas, so, he's doing okay. He used to hang out at Comic-Con with Nas. That's when you know that life's going pretty well for you. What were you doing? I was hanging out at Comic-Con with Nas. Okay. That apparently Mike is doing an imitation of Dave's verse on Stakes is High, which I didn't know. I didn't pick up on that. That's great. Just how it is sometimes. This is maybe a step down, cool, fun beat though, compressed drums. I kind of like the singing a song, but it's just kind of like a story song about like modern day love. And I do like the super old school De La Soul entry. Well, it was a rough day, guaranteed tough day. Reminds me like, well, it was a Wednesday. Me about the news was kind of hungry, right? The biddies in the BK lounge. All they do is scrimp and they scrounge. Boom. God, that song rules so bad. But it's kind of like, men are dogs and women need to look out and this is what's going to happen. It's fine. It's fine. It's not quite up to the level of the rest of the album, though. Cruel Summers, it's a Taylor Swift cover, which is really brave. It's really brave of them to do a Taylor Swift cover. I get one joke. Cruel Summers bring Fire Life, featuring Yukimi. Maceo's on here, which is nice, kind of more tight funk. Salutations. And this is Yukimi sampling the song Cruel Summer by Bananarama. This is not for young kids, everybody. Very straight sample, fun and funky. Just this great De La, just the drum beat, just how you get the drums working and these sirens in the back. Dave's verse sounds a little bit like a draft. Hot summer, close the door. Shit's wired like Baltimore. It's fire like my life. It's nice, but again, it's not quite there. Same thing with the next song, Day in the Sun, featuring Q-Tip. Speaking of Q-Tip, I will not stop banging this drum. FORCE by LL Cool J and produced entirely by Q-Tip is one of the great albums of the last couple years. This really should be on your radar if it is not already. It is easily one of LL Cool J's best albums. It's better than anything he's done, I think, this century. It's an amazing album. And people checked it out. But I feel like, kind of like Cabin in the Sky, it is real proof of the excellence of this generation of rap music that can just keep going. Cool, upbeat little harpsichord. And again, it's about the day in the sun. This whole album is about mourning. This album is like getting out of a funeral and being with your family, and then it's just a sunny day and it's just nice. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. Like, you just sit around, you just look, and you just think, oh, that person who died, they would like this day. I would like to be here with them. But at least I'm here with me, and at least I'm here with my friends. At least I'm here with my family. So you tell me. You tell me. What other music can do this? You tell me. You tell me. What other musical genre can make you feel this way? Rock and roll? Rock and roll songs? Rock and roll can't do this. I love rock and roll. I love rock and roll. Put another dime in the jukebox. Abraham Lincoln. I love rock and roll, but it can't do this. Rock and roll songs have to, when they're like tributes, they end up becoming like Candle in the Wind. It gets way too maudlin. What other genre can do this? What other genre can have like an entire album where you feel like you just got out of a funeral and it's a beautiful day and you're about to go get ice cream? I don't know. This is why we have to just appreciate rap music and hip hop, even if it's not on the charts right now. Oh my God. Young Thug's record failed to chart. I can't live anymore. We come on time with the band, music compressed with the jam, LOVE, and that's word to plug do, JD Dove, rhymed his ass off. I do like Q-Tip on here. I do like Q-Tip. I don't know what it is. Are you with me? Is anyone else out here with me who just never quite connected with the Tribe Called Quest? Like, I like them a lot. I really respect them a lot. But there's just something, for some reason, they just never like did it for me. Oh. And then we get to Run It Back. So the album is a little bit on a dip. And now it's right back up with Run It Back by Nas. Holy calamity, scream insanity. All you're ever going to be is another whack fan of this song. It is unbelievable. I got Maceo on the beginning, say everyone report Long Island, which one thing I really liked about the Stakes is High album, I got to stop hiding this, the Stakes is High album, that's where they really bring out their Long Islandness. And props to Long Island. A lot of people live there. And this chant in the head back, it's just such a head nodding, almost polyrhythmic beat. And Pause News's verse is crazy with these like pauses that would be like da 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 da. It's the birth of a team here to clean up the turf, and it's worth the dream to change the regime. Lean and delay in the words that we spray, and the words that teach you how to act. Run it back, and then we get that little. That little before Nas, we get a little bit of the Salam Remy beat from Made You Look Hip Hop. And Nas is so hyped. Nas has been on a legendary run, obviously, with his Legend Has It series, obviously following up the Magic thing. Okay, just so that you know there is going to be a book written. It's going to be called Nas in the 2020s. And it's going to be about the way Nas is moving in this decade. And it's going to be trying to like catalog everything he did, not only with his own music, but the 7 albums with Hit Boy, six albums with Hit Boy, and then the Hip Hop 50 events, and then this Mass Appeal stuff. There's a 600-page book about what's going on right now, what Nas is doing. And then on top of that, he keeps on dropping these little verses. Now, I think the best verse he released was the one, I think on Ghostface. Was that the one where he's talking about like the slave owners in Central Park? They get all kind of mixed up here. But here, he's just on fire. Unsmackable, half of you laughable, won't be photographable if I have to run through half your crew. Multisyllabic, mosaic, just no suburbia privileges from the rap. It's no wonder that 3's the magic number. Add me to that number, that's 4. The 4th BG, the 4th ZZ Top member, the 4th Fuji. Who me? I fantasize musically when it's suiting me, as well as the 80s, 90s, and thousands. How sick, how did it slip? Now it's just Doechii, Dot, and SZA with the most powerful hits. Like talking about where rap is going, talking about being the 4th member of the Bee Gees, the 4th ZZ Top, because they're famous trios. Same thing with the Fugees. Now Doechii, Dot, and SZA with the most powerful hits. Leon Thomas and Shabuzi with the country rap. Only black artists on the top of the charts. Something's whack. Run it back. So it is talking about that same thing I was talking about. But you know who I don't mind talking about the downfall of rap as a economic force? Rap artists. That's a little bit less annoying than, pocket watchers. Not only love and only black, don't start with that. The problem hatched probably back with Napster back in 99. In fact, was Nas deprived from getting diamond plaque. I didn't mean to accidentally do a Eminem thing. Only black artists, top of the charts, something whack. Not only love and only black, don't start with that. The problem hatched probably Napster back in 99, in fact. Was not surprised from getting a diamond plaque. That was the first time I've ever done an Eminem impersonation. I'm not sure how it went, but fortunately most people aren't watching right now. I'm afraid that it was pretty good. Then we get to Different World, more Giancarlo Esposito. And the thing that he knew, I got to stretch out my back a little bit. The thing that he knew was that at this point in the album, we're just too hyped. So he's like, you got to slow it down. Your heart's beating fast. And you know what? He's right. My heart is beating too fast. This is just too much. It's just too good. So it just gets kind of like relaxed. And we get to this whole other song. Oh my God. It's just such a beautiful, and this Jermaine Jackson sample, Justice for Jermaine, JFJ, this harpsichord. And it's a reminder of the different world. Listen, there's a lot of complicated things in this world. We lost a lot when we lost Bill Cosby. Like, just a lot. He was not like an interesting figure, and I know he's now mostly known for being a sex pest and for his respectability politics, horse hockey that he was dropping. But he was such a giant of American culture and of spreading black American culture or representations of black American culture throughout the world. Like Fat Albert, The Cosby Show, and A Different World. Like, it's so sad that we've lost it all. Anyways, I hear Different World, I just think of Dwayne Wayne. And anyways, Gina Loring's on here. She's pretty good. We marched to the beatbox of our own frequency. That's cute. And then there's a whole verse about Dave. I'd rather you be here with us fighting through the cold. Us arguing and mad at each other would be better than us not having each other. But all I can do is bite my lip and be blessed to have you steering the ship from a different world. It's just so beautiful, man. He's like, I'd rather be fighting with you than not have you here, because they fought a lot, because they were brothers and friends. You tell me. You go ahead. What other music genre can do this? Patty Cake sounds like grade school. Some organ underneath. Is this a reference to Patty Dookie? I don't know. The drums come in. It's just so badass. That's the De La feel. And it's cool because I've been teaching my girls, my 3-year-old and 1-year-old, patty cake, baker's man. But some more, kind of, preachy verses about the crack trade and poverty, but it's good, Jimmy crack corn as patty cakes do. They share an apartment, never know food. I remember being in elementary school and being taught the song Jimmy Crack Corn and thinking it was funny because I used to sing, Jimmy sell crack and he don't care. Jimmy sell crack and he don't care. It wasn't like a I don't know why I thought that was so funny. I thought that was so funny. Maybe it was Jimmy Does Crack and he don't. It's probably Jimmy Does Crack. I don't think I was thinking about crack selling at the time. Anyways, suburban white kid laughs about the crack epidemic. News at 11. I apologize for humanity, my ignorance. Positive News' verse is just about poverty and it's beautiful. Bake up a cake as fast as you can, nothing gourmet, but make sure it ain't dry because people searching for their piece of the pie that belongs to them or help them understand there's a chef oven here to cook up a plan and everything's wrong. Let's talk about the wealth divide and the gap. Then we get the silent life of the truth. My one beef with Mr. Fantano is he is wrong about this song. My further props to Rob Markman. He's right about this song. The song rules. It's another DJ Premier song. And yes, Fantano, it is a flat delivery, but I think that's on purpose. And it's a really cool stylistic exercise. And we got the scratch and this organ and just DJ Premier is just out of his mind. Again, out of his mind. Different flow. It's all about the nature of the truth, going back to Adam and Eve. And it's about the need for truth. And this is the thing about me. I don't lie. It's just a thing about me. I don't lie. I decided not to lie. I had a girlfriend once who really insisted that I never lie. And ever since then, I just decided to never lie. And so I never lie. And it makes my life way better, but it makes me think a lot more about the truth. Parents will push the truth away from their kids, make sure the fairy tales stay intact instead of blowing to smithereens when truth speaks facts. That's why I don't lie to my kids. My kids say, does Santa Claus exist? I say, do you think Santa Claus exists? That's all I say. They say, is there a tooth fairy? I say, do you think there's a tooth fairy? No, Dad, is there a tooth fairy? Do you think there's a tooth fairy? That's what I say. I won't say no. I won't say, kids, there's no tooth fairy. Santa Claus is the dick. I won't say any of that stuff, but I will say, people believe it. People do believe it. It's a fun thing to believe. Great song. Again, De La Soul, 36 years into their career, are just deciding to drop more jewels on us. NF featuring Black Thought, another Premier beat. It feels like it's trying to be a Stakes is High style beat. DJ Premier takes us through definitions of the word N-word and funny that's playing off with, I think it's a Prodigy sample of saying someone's funny. Some do it for the culture. We do it for cultivating the mind that's knocked down. We worth millions, but not millionaires because music industry rules and disrepair. Absolutely. Samuel Eck. He's coming for you, allegedly. Black Thought here is just great. Just great. Out here waiting for the man like Velvet Underground. Believe in him. Now we get the sort of gospel thing here. This is, nice bass and tambourine. It's not my favorite stuff on the album. We the Faithful is eating a plate full of parables and moments of life that's unbearable, but relief in the strength is proof. And you color my awareness and harmony and truth. It makes sense in an album that's about like heaven, that we got to have a little bit of Jeebus in here. Yours, featuring Common and Slick Rick, is the low point on the album. It's okay, but actually, Hey Young World is my least favorite Slick Rick song off his album, which is a 10 out of 10 album, Great Adventures of Slick Rick. But still, I don't know. It's better on headphones, this song is. I like the kind of tinkling sounds. I like Positive News' verse about aging. That's really cool. Treat failure like a love affair that you need to end. I like that. Common's verse is cool. Yeah, I'm really into that TV show Silo. So my wife every time comments on him like, this is the guy from Silo. And she's like, oh, Common? Because he's a great character on that show. Relation with the truth, you have to be monogamous, kind of tying back into the previous song about truth. And this whole thing about palm of his hands. Now, this is my palm right here, and you might not be able to tell, but I have a scar that goes from here to here. I was in Little Compton, Rhode Island, and I was playing in the rocks with my friends, and I almost fell into the ocean and died. And this is the scar. And I saw a palm reader once at a Unitarian youth camp who said that the fact that my love line and my lifeline are connected by a scar is meaningful. I don't remember the rest of it. I don't remember what it meant. But anyways, this song is great. I thought it was about he's got the whole world in his hands. I thought it was going to be another Jesus thing, but it's not. It's just about the lifelines of your hands. A prayer heard for the closed eye. Are we still here? Only God knows why. I'll smile in our heart. With legacy turned up, with legal issues. Still we never tore apart. The fact they couldn't get on streaming because their art was too good. And by the way, just so you know, you can't even hear this version of Biz Markie because there's legal disputes going on in the Biz Markie family. And it makes me really upset that the whole world doesn't get to experience all samples cleared. You know, there's a song on here called Let Me Turn You On. It's like this like disco sample that he does. That's the kind of thing that like he and De La Soul can do. Just totally simple, silly, just quotes and samples, and it seems like it's beneath you, but you frickin' love it. Just like that Will Be song, you know? But this whole song is gorgeous. We honor the ghosts and the love light and not wanting to get older. This ethereal rising piano during Posdnuos's verse. I hope to be surrounded by my seeds, tell them to love one another, tell my son to treat women better than I treated his mother, all about his regret and his feeling of loss and the nature that he could be a better father and a better man than he is. There is other art that can do this, of course. Like The Nature of Aging. Dylan's got like 11 albums on these themes that are good, right? But this is really good. This is hitting at some very, very deep, awesome truths of the way that middle age gets to you. Cabin in the Sky, the album goes way back up again. I feel like this is another Steely Dan sample. Maybe it's not. They don't know. Back from the first album. Oh my God, man. Oh my God. Just De La Soul is so good. I don't know if this is all supposed to be like the play Cabin in the Sky that was a musical. I do know the Ella Fitzgerald version of the song, Cabin in the Sky. And I think it's just an elegant image of heaven. I think it's trying to tie together to some like black southern imagery of heaven as just being a cabin in the sky. To help honor those I lost, not the end of me, but in disbelief, I lost my brother Dave. What keeps me sane from grief is to stay rooted. If in the wind gets severe, every line in the song holds love in the tears, and we hope to climb and on an acre or two up to the heavenly blue where there's no rent owed or urban life sowed in the clouds. Gentrification in the realm ain't allowed. The thought that soon becomes the tiniest when around my pops, who's blessed to celebrate his 90th, standing thankful for life. I wonder if he thinks about the loved one who paid a different price. The growth, the production grows. It's just beautiful. You reach the end. And what's great is that this is the end of the album because we're now our heads in the clouds and we're thinking about heaven. But the thing is, now that our head is above the clouds, now that we're up here above the world, we get to hear what's happening up here because the last song is produced. It's produced by Trugoy and rapped by Trugoy. This is him. We have ascended into heaven, and we're not watching Jimi Hendrix playing pinball with Bach. We're listening to Trugoy's Last Will and Testament, and it's just a fun song. Don't push me. Nice, happy, cool, chunky drums, sing-song flow about like Obama not being on the $5 bill. I'm still pissed off about Emmett Till. Beautiful lyrics about, you know, the progress and lack of progress and the harp and the voice of his singing. And it's so gorgeous. And of course, he sings his way through Don't Push Me Because I'm Close to the Edge by Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Duke Booty. Don't you dare say Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. There's one member of the Furious Five who was on that song. His name was Melly Mel. He wanted to be called Grandmaster Melly Mel, but Grandmaster Flash said, no, I'm the only Grandmaster. So I'm going to give Melly Mel the credit for that. It's actually Duke Booty who made the song The Message. He's the guy who says, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. So Duke Booty. Just say his name, everybody. But here we have him singing, and it's perfect. Because remember how I said Dave was the backwards-looking guy? So he's taking like one of the first great rap songs that made its way into the public consciousness, and he's re-quoting it, and he's singing it, and he's singing the song about being on the edge, and it's produced by him and rapped by him, and it's a reminder of what we lost, but the whole album is glorifying what he was while mourning what we don't have and moving forward, and it ends with Giancarlo Esposito, who was saying, Dave, are you here? And Dave is here. To quote Cheech and Chong, Dave is here, man. Dave is here. He's here. Did you hear him? You can hear him on Oodles of O's if you'd like. You can hear him on Stakes is High. You can hear him on the albums I didn't even listen to because I'm a dunderheaded fool. Thank you, Dave. Here's the camera.